They don't want you to know this. Edgar Cayce revealed that your origin, mine, and that of all humanity may not be of this planet. Before we set foot on Earth, we already traveled among the stars, carrying secrets that science is only now beginning to suspect. Every cell in your body may conceal the memory of distant worlds and civilizations lost to time. What we're about to reveal here will challenge everything you believed about who you are and where you came from. Watch until the end, because the last part may forever change the way you see the sky. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, left a legacy of revelations that challenge our traditional understanding of human history. Among his thousands of readings, he addressed topics that went far beyond health and spirituality, delving into the mysterious realm of humanity's origins. What few know is that, for Cayce, our true story didn't begin on Earth. He asserted that our souls carry memories of distant worlds long before we set foot on this planet. This insight breaks down religious and scientific barriers, opening space for a profound question. If we didn't come from here, then where did we come from? As we delve into his prophecies, we find descriptions of otherworldly civilizations so rich in detail that they are impossible to ignore. He spoke of cultures that existed before the formation of the first human societies, beings who mastered science and spirituality in balance. These souls, according to Cayce, would have transitioned to Earth for a specific reason, almost like a cosmic mission. This raises an intriguing question. Is our presence here the result of chance or the result of a greater, carefully crafted plan? Cayce suggested that, in the distant past, Earth was a meeting and learning point for souls from various corners of the universe. Imagine our planet as a cosmic school, where beings from different star nations gathered to evolve and exchange experiences. This perspective completely changes the way we view human evolution. It would not be simply a biological sequence, but an interplanetary spiritual process. This narrative didn't arise from daydreams. During his trance states, Cayce described visions with such precision that his followers believed they were witnessing actual records of the past. He saw landscapes, technologies, and societies that correspond to nothing we officially know. Most surprisingly, many of these details are echoed in ancient myths and legends spread across various cultures. It's as if all of humanity harbors fragments of this lost memory. The impact of these revelations is so profound that when compared with recent scientific discoveries, they take on new weight. The exploration of exoplanets, theories of panspermia, and even evidence of extremophile life forms on other worlds seem to bring science and spirituality closer together. What Cayce said decades ago may be gaining traction now. This reinforces the idea that his words were not mere metaphors but authentic accounts of a greater reality. If we accept this hypothesis, then human history is not just terrestrial. We are cosmic travelers, with roots that transcend known time and space. The question that resonates is, why are we here, and what is the next step on this stellar journey? This is just the beginning of a path of discovery that promises to shake everything we think we know. According to Cayce, our existence did not begin with physical birth on this world. Before Earth, our souls lived on other planets, each with its own landscape, culture, and spiritual laws. He described worlds covered by crystalline oceans, cities floating in the air, and societies that communicated more through thought than speech. In these realities, there was not the same physical density we experience here. It was as if we lived in a state of light and energy, much closer to our divine essence. Before we move on, we want to feel the power of your presence. Comment below. From which city, state, or country are you watching us? Let's map this current of light and show how far our message is reaching. Write in the comments and let's expand this energy together. This journey through the stars was not random. Cayce indicated that each planetary transition had a specific purpose, as if we were completing stages of learning. On some worlds, we developed intellect. On others, empathy. On still others, the ability to create in harmony with nature. Earth would be just another chapter in this long journey, but with a unique role: to unite all the acquired skills and use them to overcome the duality between light and shadow. He asserted that our arrival on Earth was marked by a conscious choice. We weren't forcibly brought here, but rather, we accepted the mission to experience life in a dense and challenging environment. Here, we would have the opportunity to expand our consciousness to the fullest, facing limitations that didn't exist on other worlds. This is a crucial detail. as it transforms our current existence into a cosmic adventure with a defined purpose. Cayce also mentioned that many souls had already encountered each other before incarnating on Earth. It's as if we travel in groups, reuniting with old companions to continue unfinished stories. This would explain the immediate connections we feel with certain people, even without apparent history. These affinities could be echoes of bonds formed in other worlds long before this time. The transition to Earth was not only physical but also energetic. Upon arriving here, we had to adapt to a new, slower, and heavier frequency. This process resulted in the loss of conscious memories of our origins, but it did not erase them completely. In dreams, intuitions, and moments of deep spiritual connection, fragments of this past can still emerge. Understanding this journey before Earth is like opening an ancient map and discovering that our story doesn't fit within the planet's boundaries. We came from the stars, bringing with us seeds of knowledge and spiritual power that still lie dormant. Awakening them may be the key to understanding our role in the universe and the next step on this incredible journey. For Edgar Cayce, the arrival of the first souls on Earth was not a chaotic event, but a carefully planned stage in the evolutionary cycle. He described how, long before the emergence of known civilizations, Earth was prepared as a point of learning and experience. These souls, coming from different regions of the universe, did not possess physical bodies like ours. They inhabited more subtle forms, capable of interacting with energy and matter in an almost magical way. This initial presence shaped the planet's vibration, preparing it for the life that would later flourish. Cayce asserted that the transition of these souls to a physical reality was gradual. At first, they moved freely between dimensional planes, observing and learning from the emerging fauna and flora. Over time, they began experimenting with denser bodies, adapting to the laws of Earth's biology. This process was not without its challenges, as it required giving up some of the freedom they had in other worlds to live within physical limits. Still, there was a collective enthusiasm for the new experience. The arrival also brought a clash of spiritual cultures. Different groups of souls carried unique knowledge and skills from their worlds of origin. By interacting, they created new forms of expression, science, and spirituality. It was a fusion of knowledge that, according to Cayce, gave rise to myths of gods and creators present in ancestral traditions. These records were not mere inventions, but distorted memories of a real time when star beings walked the Earth. In this early period, communication was not through speech, but through the direct transmission of thoughts and emotions. The first communities were guided by principles of cooperation and respect for natural balance. There were no borders, religions, or governments as we know them today. The focus was on living in harmony with the planet, absorbing and returning energy harmoniously. It was a way of life that would later be lost with the decline of consciousness. Cayce suggested that those early days were a spiritual golden age. However, with the densification of matter and the growing identification with physical bodies, the first conflicts and a sense of separation arose. The memory of origins began to fade, and souls began to see themselves more as isolated individuals than as part of a cosmic whole. This forgetting would be the beginning of a long cycle of learning through duality. The spiritual colonization of Earth, therefore, was not merely a geographic arrival, but a profound transition in state of being. It is the root of all the stories that tell of those who came from the sky and ushered in civilization. Understanding this moment is like finding the first page of the book of humanity, a page that has been torn, but whose fragments still echo in the traditions and spiritual memory of each of us. Edgar Cayce said that, despite having assumed earthly bodies, our essence retains traces of the civilizations from which we came. These traits, which he called cosmic DNA, are not limited to physical genetic material. They encompass thought patterns, spiritual abilities, and even emotional predispositions inherited from our journeys to other worlds. It's as if each of us carries a stellar archive within, waiting to be accessed. This cosmic DNA manifests itself in subtle ways. Some feel an inexplicable connection to the stars. Others have recurring dreams of alien landscapes or a natural ability to grasp complex concepts without prior study. There are also those who demonstrate extraordinary empathy and sensitivity, as if they brought back memories of more compassionate societies from other worlds. According to Cayce, none of this is coincidence, but rather clues to our origins, Ancient cultures, such as the Mayans, Egyptians, and Sumerians, preserved symbols and myths that Cayce interpreted as signs of this legacy. Winged figures, gods descending from the sky, and teachings on advanced astronomy are believed to be vestiges of this inherited knowledge. Modern science is beginning to perceive something similar when investigating enigmatic segments of our DNA, which appear to have no clear biological function, but may hold as yet unknown secrets. For Cayce, recognizing this heritage is more than spiritual curiosity. It's a call to activate dormant potentialities. Just as seeds need the right conditions to germinate, our cosmic DNA can awaken when faced with specific stimuli, such as spiritual practices, contact with nature, or consciousness-expanding experiences. This awakening not only reconnects us with our past, but also prepares us for the challenges of the future. He warned that ignoring this heritage would be like living with an entire library inside and never opening a book. By understanding and accepting that we come from an interplanetary lineage, we begin to see ourselves not as mere inhabitants of a blue dot in space, but as citizens of the universe. This shift in perspective alters our relationship with life, with others, and with the planet itself. Cosmic DNA is therefore silent proof that our history goes far beyond what is recorded in science or religion. It pulses in every cell, awaiting the moment when we are ready to remember who we truly are. And when that remembrance comes, humanity will be able to take a leap in consciousness never before seen. According to Edgar Cayce, when different groups of souls from different worlds began interacting on Earth, not everything was harmonious. Initially, there was cooperation, but tensions soon arose due to differences in vibration, purpose, and level of spiritual evolution. Some souls were more accustomed to living in tune with universal laws, while others still carried remnants of ego and a desire for domination inherited from previous experiences. This difference in consciousness was the seed of the first human conflicts. These clashes resulted in clear divisions. People seeking balance with nature were seen as naive by those who believed that control and exploitation would bring greater power. Cayce described how, during this period, the first disputes arose over resources, territories, and even the spiritual guidance of communities. This duality between light and shadow marked the beginning of a silent battle that continues to this day. If this content is touching your heart and adding something valuable to your life, please click the like button to boost this video and help us. This way, more people can be reached by this message of faith and hope. Thank you so much for your support. Ancient legends and mythologies bear traces of these turbulent times. Stories of wars between gods, battles in the heavens, and weapons of unimaginable power are distorted memories of these primal disputes. For Cayce, these accounts were not poetic inventions, but symbolic records of real confrontations between factions of differing stellar origins. What was at stake was not just territory, but the very direction of humanity's evolution. Even in these conflicts, there was a hidden purpose: learning. The souls who incarnated on Earth needed to experience all aspects of duality to one day transcend it. This means that even wars and disagreements played a role in the grand cosmic plan. This understanding does not justify violence, but it helps us understand why it arose and how it shaped the character of early civilizations. Over time, some groups chose to isolate themselves to preserve their original teachings, while others immersed themselves in the power struggle and control. This separation created distinct cultural and spiritual roots that thousands of years later would give rise to societies with completely different values and myths. This diversity, despite its initial struggles, would become part of humanity's cultural richness. Cayce saw these challenges as an opportunity to refine the human soul. By facing separation, competition, and the shadow, each individual and each people were, in a sense, preparing to remember their true origin. For only by recognizing what divides us can we take the necessary leap to return to the unity we once knew. For Edgar Cayce, one of the most significant events in human spiritual history was the collective forgetting of our cosmic origins. As we assumed denser bodies and became completely identified with physical experience, we began to lose direct contact with our stellar memory. This forgetting was not accidental. It was part of a process that would allow souls to experience life on Earth with full intensity, without the comfort of remembering who they truly were. However, this veil of oblivion had profound consequences. Unaware of where we came from, we began to create stories and myths to explain our existence. These myths, though inspired by fragments of memory, ended up being shaped by human interests and limited interpretations. The truth about our cosmic nature became diluted among symbols, religions, and oral traditions, often distorted over the generations. Cayce described this forgetfulness as a fall of consciousness. Previously, we were able to perceive multiple dimensions and sense the presence of life forms other than Earth. Over time, our perception became limited to what our physical senses could perceive. This closing of consciousness led us to believe that reality was limited to the material world, weakening our connection to our greater purpose. Even so, he asserted that memory is never completely erased. It survives in intuitions and vivid dreams and instant connections with certain people and places. It's as if at specific moments a window opens and lets out a fragment of truth. Often, these flashes are what awaken people's spiritual quest. For Cayce, this process of forgetting was a test of courage and perseverance. Living without the full memory of the stars requires a conscious effort to find our way back. This search is what strengthens us, for it forces us to develop discernment, faith, and the ability to recognize truth amid illusions. Oblivion, therefore, is not an eternal sentence, but a temporary stage in the soul's learning. And now, in times of transformation, more people are awakening to the possibility that we are not just children of Earth, but cosmic travelers ready to recover the map of our true origin. Although Edgar Cayce's words were met with skepticism at the time, recent scientific discoveries have begun to shed new light on his claims. The search for Earth-like exoplanets, conducted using advanced telescopes, has already identified worlds with conditions that could harbor complex life. These findings reinforce the idea that we are not alone, and that life may have spread throughout the universe long before our earthly history. Furthermore, human genetics itself poses enigmas that science has yet to fully decipher. Segments of DNA, called non-coding DNA, remain without a clear biological function. Cayce believed that these segments concealed memories and abilities inherited from our cosmic origins, ready to be awakened at the right moment. It's as if we carry a stellar manual that humanity has yet to learn to read. Archaeological finds also challenge the official narrative. Megalithic structures impossible to build with the technology available at the time. Cave art depicting humanoid figures with helmets and precise astronomical symbols suggest contact with knowledge from beyond Earth. For Cayce, these were not coincidences, but traces of stellar visitations and influences on human development. Modern physics, with its theories of parallel universes and extra dimensions, offers a theoretical backdrop for the interplanetary and interdimensional travel described by Cayce. What once seemed like fiction is beginning to gain scientific plausibility, uniting spirituality and science in a conversation that was unthinkable just a few decades ago. Consciousness researchers also contribute to this bridge, investigating phenomena such as near-death experiences, astral projections, and past life memories. These accounts often include descriptions of places that don't correspond to any known location on Earth, but which coincide with similar visions from different cultures. When we bring together all these elements, astrobiology, archaeology, genetics, and consciousness studies, a mosaic begins to emerge that fits with the messages left by Cayce. And within this mosaic, the hypothesis of an extraterrestrial origin of humanity ceases to be a mystical tale and becomes a possibility worthy of serious investigation. For Edgar Cayce, a time will come when the veil of oblivion will be lifted, and humanity will remember its true cosmic lineage. This awakening will come not only from external evidence, but from an irresistible inner calling. We will feel, deep within, that we are part of something much greater than borders, religions, or nations. This return to stellar consciousness will mean more than just knowing where we came from. It will mean realigning with the universal principles that guided our lives before the fall of consciousness. Values such as cooperation, compassion, and harmony with nature will once again become priorities, replacing the unbridled competition and isolation that characterize our current era. Cayce said that by reconnecting with our essence, we will rediscover dormant abilities. Telepathic communication, multidimensional perception, and energy healing will cease to be myths and become part of everyday life. This will not be a sudden mystical leap, but the result of a process of conscious evolution in which each individual actively participates. The return to stellar consciousness will also bring a new sense of responsibility. Knowing that we are cosmic travelers will remind us that Earth is not just our current home, but a home shared with countless life forms, both visible and invisible. Protecting the planet will become an act of reverence for the network of interconnected worlds of which we are a part. On a collective level, this awakening could lead humanity to take its first conscious steps beyond Earth. Interstellar travel, peaceful contact with other civilizations, and the exchange of knowledge could become reality. What was once a dream or fiction will become merely the natural continuation of a very ancient story. In the end, returning to stellar consciousness is, in fact, returning home. It's recognizing that every star in the sky is a silent reminder of where we came from and where we can go. When that moment arrives, we will no longer be just humans of Earth, but citizens of the universe, aware that our journey began long before this planet, and that it is still far from over. Now that we've journeyed together through Edgar Cayce's revelations, perhaps you'll realize that our story is much grander than we imagined. We are not merely the product of Earth's evolution. We carry in our hearts and souls the brilliance of countless stars. Every myth, every dream, and every intuition may be an echo of this distant origin, waiting for the right moment to awaken. This knowledge is not just curiosity. It is an invitation to expand our consciousness and take on the role of protagonists in our own evolution. What if all this is more than theory? What if the final proof is not just out there, but within you? Perhaps true awakening begins when we decide to look to the heavens not just as spectators, but as heirs. The question is, are you ready to remember where you truly came from? Do you believe we came from another planet? Have you ever felt that strange connection with the universe, as if you were simply remembering something you've always known? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Your story may inspire others to begin this journey of discovery. If this message touches your heart and inspires new insights into your life, know that every video we create here is made with great care and dedication. Our purpose is to spread spiritual knowledge, help more people awaken to their true essence, and strengthen this community of truth seekers. If this content made a difference to you, imagine how many souls can be enlightened with this same message. Here on YouTube, there is a simple and special way to support us. Through the button, "Thanks a lot." This is a way to show that this content has had a real impact on your life and to help us continue producing quality materials, bringing knowledge and inspiration to those who need it most. Every contribution, no matter how small, is a gesture of gratitude and love, and makes all the difference so we can move forward with this mission. But, regardless of anything, the most important thing is your presence here. Your engagement, comments, and support are the energy that keeps this community alive and growing. If you can contribute, we'll receive it with open hearts and immense gratitude. If you can't, your positive vibes and participation are already a great gift. Together, we are spreading more light, more love, and more knowledge to the world. Thank you so much for being part of this journey. May your journey be filled with evolution, learning, and connection with the divine. If this video made you reflect, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell so you don't miss future content, and share it with someone who also feels they belong beyond Earth. Together, we can form a community of seekers ready to reclaim our true stellar consciousness. The universe is waiting for us, and the next step begins now.